Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. This is a show that has a great example of how you could have a show, with great moments and everything, a couple of good segments and some decent matches, but not know how to end the show, not know how to structure it. And we'll get to that in a minute. So Roman Reigns starts off, defeating Jason Jordan. It was a good match. If anything, Reigns was more dominant than Cena was last week. Cena's match would seem closer than the one with Jordan. Both good matches, though. At the end of it, Cena came out and mocked Reigns, for it taking him too long to beat Jason. And Jason Jordan almost beat him. Reigns fired back and said that Hollywood doesn't want him. That's why he's still here. The YWC, of course, is going to once again dick ride for Cena. It's funny. It's so funny because I remember a couple of years ago when I was praising Cena for having matches for the U.S. title and shit. People didn't want to hear it. Oh no, Cena. Cena's being carried in those matches. He's burying people. They didn't want to see Cena for what he was. They see it as them putting Cena out there to bury Reigns. And the question I have to ask is, do you really think that they would put Cena out there to purposely bury Reigns? When Reigns beat The Undertaker, he's a big, they're trying to make him a big star. Nobody wants to give Reigns credit for anything. He says good things during the promo. Cena's trying to push him forward, trying to help him out, trying to make his promo. That's why they're putting him with the top guy in the company, because they want Reigns to get better at promos. And what a better way to do it than putting him in there with Cena. But people don't see it that way. This is also how Wade Keller and Meltzer Magoo also see it. They see it as them just putting him in there just so he could look like a fucking idiot with Cena. But that's not the truth. It's Cena's out there with him to help him and guide him during the promos. They're giving them promos that are not super scripted, so they could go back and forth and play off of each other so Reigns could look like a bigger star. But of course, nobody wants to give him credit for that. No one is going to give him credit from that, at least from the YWC. Nobody on the dirt sheets is. It's sad. Up next, you had Sasha defeating Emma. I get the whole thing that they want to put more people on the card. Like I said, I'm all for it. WrestleMania, the ladder matches, they put more people in. More people get a payday, whatever. At the end of the day, more people on the card. It makes the card more exciting to watch. But ever since, Emma came to Raw, what are the big moments that we remember from her? Besides, a couple of years ago, playing around with Santino in retarded segments. We remember her abandoning the Emelina gimmick, which was the most awkward moment probably in the history of the program. We remember her constantly saying, I started the Davis Revolution over and over and over until our ears bled. But you could at least make her go into this match looking like she's deserving, at least. Then we had a great segment. I didn't get, the Paul Heyman promo. This is where I have to say where Heyman just needs to shut up already. I've never heard in the UFC an interviewer referring to the fighter as just fighter. I'm pretty sure they refer to people as their names unless he's referring to something else. I don't know. It sounded weird. Fighter, are you ready? Fighter, are you ready? Fighter, I mean, like, what is he trying to say? Anyway, Strowman comes out, something that was missing from the show for 2 weeks. They finally figured out how to write a good segment showing the two people that are going to be in the world title match. He dominates Lesnar, puts his foot on top of him, then puts the belt on top of his chest. It was a great segment. He destroyed him. And this looked like a way to end the show. I mean, if this is the way the show ended, I would have been like, that was a great ending. That's how you should end the show. You cap it off with the two guys in the company who are going to be facing off for the belt. These are your showcase main eventers. Strowman, you're building him. Now he's got his foot on top of, your top guy, the guy with the world title. What a better way to end the show than this? But the show doesn't end. Show doesn't end after that. We just keep going. Bray Wyatt defeated Goldust. He rubs the paint off of Goldust's face and he screams to the crowd, he's just a man. Goldust is being wasted here. Whatever happened to his protege at SummerSlam? Remember he said he was going to unveil his protege? It never happened. Uh, you know, because Finn Balor wears face paint. We're going to, put him in a match with Goldust. But what is Goldust doing? You had this whole thing, break up the tag team, thank God, with Goldust and R-Truth. We fast forward several months and Goldust is back to doing nothing. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins came out to do commentary for the best thing since sliced bread, and Cesaro and Sheamus, they got into a big brawl. The match doesn't happen. Okay. Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss were backstage. Bliss was apologizing to Nia. This brought back bad memories of the Big Show crying and apologizing. Daniel Bryan apologizing to Kane. Remember 2012, where I ranted about wrestlers apologizing and how stupid it fucking sounded? Well, that brought back a lot of bad memories. I understand that Alexa is the small champion and she doesn't want to get on the bad side of Nia Jax, but why all the apologizing and shit? Like, enough is enough already. It doesn't make her seem like a champion. It just makes her seem, even smaller than what she is. They shouldn't put her in the position to make her look weak. Why does every single heel have to be a chicken shit heel, all cowardly and running away all the time? We need a few more, Braun Strowman type of heels that are not going to run away and be chicken shit all the time. Elias Sampson defeated Kalisto. I don't feel like this guy is moving forward at all. He sings a song one week. He breaks a guitar over the head of Finn Balor, which I felt like he was gaining some momentum again. But now it's back to more squash matches. Are they planning on doing something with this guy? He's got a look. He's got a character, obviously talented on the mic, in the ring. He's got all the tools. He looks like a star. He's got the body of an athlete. But we're not seeing anything out of this guy. I mean, are there any plans for him? Because it doesn't seem like it. It looked like there was going to be something when he hit the fuck boy over the head with the guitar. But it doesn't seem like anything is on the horizon for the Drifter. Strowman was in a match with Cena. He brings the steps into the ring. He power slams Cena onto the steps. Strowman is dominant again. The ref disqualifies him. It was a good way to get out of the match. Lesnar is nowhere to be seen. I don't understand this. How do you go from having something that looks like it could end the show, with Lesnar and Strowman? That's it. After that, you want to get out of the show because that's it. You're not going to be able to top that. Strowman with his foot on the chest of Brock Lesnar. How can you top that? Okay, well, how about Strowman power slamming Cena? That's a good way to end the show, right? Doesn't end there. I mean, that would be a step down from the champion, but this is good. But there's no interaction with Lesnar. So after that, Lesnar gets dominated. He's cool for the night, right? Up. See you later. Nothing else from Lesnar. No run-in, no nothing. I get, you want to have Strowman have his moment against Cena. He already had a moment. This kind of felt like it could have been stretched out over two different shows. I mean, when it comes to Raw, I think we should get as many good moments on the show as possible. But the structure just showed him like, what are they doing? And the show still doesn't end. It keeps going. And then we have, Miz and Maryse announcing they're going to have a baby. Enzo interferes, and we had a good back and forth, Enzo and the Miz. You see, this is how it's done on the mic. I'm sorry, but when you say that Sami Zayn is good on the mic, this is why I laugh at you motherfuckers and I say that the YWC is full of a bunch of idiots. And, the YWC currently mocks Enzo and likes to take shots at him. And I'm saying this guy has more charisma in his pinky than probably every single person in the Cruiserweight division, Fuckboy Balor, Sami Zayn put together. Enzo, yes, even has more charisma than a Kevin Owens, for example. He just does more. He has more energy. Yes, I like the sarcasm and the narcissistic personality of a Kevin Owens, but Enzo is better on the mic. He has more character. And, the Miz. And I'm listening to Meltzer Magoo getting upset about this promo. And he's going back and forth with Alvarez. And they're talking about, is Maryse pregnant or not? And the thing about Magoo, which cracks me up, you have to go watch this. It's in the latest podcast. From Magoo, and Meltzer says, "Get this." He's arguing with Alvarez that Miz said that he met Maryse in the WWE, right? That makes sense. You mean you meet the person that you're working with. You say, I met them at work. Okay, so WWE is the workplace. So that's what Miz says in the promo, right? He says, we wanted to make the announcement that where I met Maryse. So he met his wife at work in WWE. And Meltzer Magoo proceeds to tear apart this segment simply because he says the WWE is not a place. So he said it's not a place. The WWE is an organization. So I'm sitting there at my computer with my mouth open this morning as I'm eating my breakfast, like probably eggs falling out of my fucking mouth. Is Meltzer Magoo really getting into an? Is he upset about that? That the WWE is not a place? Like, there's things in the English language that are called figures of speech. It's not like they went inside the WWE. Does he have to actually say, "Oh, I met her at the Staples Center"? No, he met her through work. He met her at WWE in the whatever. I mean, what is this man on? For God's sakes, what is in this man's head that he is actually annoyed and has a problem and goes on the whole fucking mental rant just because Miz is saying where he met his wife and that he doesn't like the grammatical aspect of what he said. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, what a pretentious fucking prick he sounded like in this podcast. I mean, that he actually sits there and has a problem. I mean, Miz is announcing one of the happiest moments in his life, probably since he got married. Having a real life, work shoot moment here. One of the happiest moments in the Miz's life since he probably married Maryse, this beautiful woman. He's talking about having a child with her. He's overjoyed. This is not the real joy, obviously, he had when it was first announced to him. But, he's trying to replicate that for, the premise of the promo. And Magoo's sitting there, taking it apart. And he's having a problem that Enzo's coming out there and being the anti-hero. And he's saying, Enzo's being the asshole. The thing is, the minute they try to do something Attitude Era-ish and try to do Shades of Grey, Vince Russo or Ed Ferrara style, the dirt sheets cry because they hate Russo's style so much. Oh my God, Shades of Grey! You got to be kidding me. They should be happy that they're bringing that back. So it doesn't make it so boring and cookie cutter with the same bad guy. Remember the old thing, the Vince McMahon promo that he had where he says, we're insulting your intelligence. You're sick of good guys versus bad guys. Remember when he said that? Love that thing. But it reminded me of Vince McMahon saying that, good guys versus bad guys. It's like it's so vanilla and chocolate. It's boring. You want to jazz it up a bit. Like, oh, is this guy? What's his angle? Is he good? Is he bad? It's the sake of just having a good promo and trying to tell a story here. They're trying to give Enzo something to do outside the cruiserweight division, despite him being in the doghouse. In I don't see why Magoo would have a problem with that. But this goofball always has a problem with that. This is pretty much how it is. If Magoo or Keller complain about something, it's good. It's opposite day, because I'm going to get to it in a minute here. So, I don't. It also felt weird that this stuff was following these massive segments with, it's still good, but you've already saw Cena getting crushed by Strowman also dominating Lesnar, and then, we're left with like these things. They look like table scraps in comparison. Miz defeats Enzo, in a little impromptu match. Then we have our main event. It's Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose teaming up with the Hardys to defeat the best things since sliced bread and Cesaro and Sheamus. And, like, this was an okay match. It was all right. It was like a fast-paced match. You got all the tag teams involved that were brawling before. But the problem I have here is you had all these opportunities to end the show with your main guys, and you end with a mid-card match. And they have been doing this constantly. Constantly. Just like when they would end with the women's match or the Intercontinental match, or giving different things spotlights, and it's just not working. You can't put all your main stuff in the middle of the fucking show. You want to have this third hour, you have to end on a high note. Otherwise, don't have the fucking third hour, if that's the case. I mean, you're going to end the whole entire show. I mean, Raw used to end at 11. Remember, it used to begin at 9 and end at 11:05 or whatever. It never used to end at 10 o'clock. So why are they booking that way? If anything, the third hour should be the most important hour. And but anyway, I'm reading Keller's review of Raw, and he's basically saying, yeah, this was a great way to end it with athleticism. Go fuck your athleticism. You had some great storytelling and character development with Braun Strowman dominating motherfuckers. He dominated Lesnar and Cena. And you're going to tell me that, that's going to take a backseat to the fucking Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins and, the Bullet Club match? No, are they on fucking drugs? The thing is, they were good enough, these writers, to figure out to put that shit on the show. That was some good stuff. But they're not smart enough to figure out how to end it. So they ended in probably the most anticlimactic way possible. Are you fucking serious? As Zack Ryder would say, you serious, bro? I mean, honestly, I've never seen something more stupidly booked in my fucking life. Because I look at this show, and it really wasn't a terrible show when you look at, like, the context of it. The show had good moments, and I was loving this stuff with Braun. I didn't know what the fuck Heyman was doing, but, you had Roman in a good match, a good promo right after that. But the way the show was all structured, it was like, what is more important than the other thing? You used to be able to tell on these shows. Even post Attitude Era or Ruthless Aggression Era, they would end the show. Remember, like, I'm just pulling something out of my ass here. I remember Kurt Angle bloodying John Cena. This was 2005, I remember. Leading into their, what was it? An Unforgiven match. I remember, because I remember it's a pay-per-view I watched a couple of years ago on the network. What was the last thing on one of those shows? It might have been the Go Home show right before that pay-per-view. What did they show on that show right at the end of it? Well, it was Kurt Angle bloodying John Cena, leaving him in a heap, looking dominant because Cena was the champion, and they wanted to show that Kurt Angle had a chance at winning the belt. So that's how they ended the show. So after you finish watching the show, you're like, oh shit, I gotta see this pay-per-view to see if Kurt Angle could actually win the belt. That was the hook. That was the cliffhanger. That's how you ended a fucking show. By leaving them in suspense, leave your audience in suspense, leave the live crowd in suspense as you end the show with the challenger looking more dominant than the champion. That was the case with Strowman and Lesnar, right? I mean, even if, for whatever the reason is why that wasn't the last part of the show, which it should have been, but why not at least end it with Strowman and Cena? I mean, because that is a main event right there. I mean, you have the guy who's probably going to win the title, or might win the title, or at least come pretty fucking close, against Cena, who's the guy who's going to be in the second, or maybe, I don't even know what the main event will be at No Mercy. It will the last match will probably be Lesnar and Strowman, but there's a strong possibility that they might try to put Cena and Roman on last. Whatever the case may be, they're both massive matches. So you've got Cena and Strowman. Both of them have huge matches at the pay-per-view. They gave Cena the out with the DQ and everything. And, that would have been an all right way to end the show. It wouldn't have been the best possibility out of what was offered on the show as what could have been the climax. I mean, you always want to put your best foot forward at the end of the show so to leave people coming back for more. So you're telling me out of everything on this show, what the writers thought was the best thing on this fucking show that they had to offer to keep people coming back for more for next week was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose in a fucking 8-man tag match? This has been your YWC champ, signing out.